today's topics. Like always, we're coming to you live on the second floor of the Student Union, and of course, we're coming through your speakers on KZLX. You can catch Cat Chat Monday through Thursday at 7 o'clock on KNWT Channel 8. As for me, I'm your host, Joe Cornejo, and with me, as always, are three lovely new panelists. Why don't you guys go ahead and tell us who you are?
Hi, I'm Will.
I'm Cassie.
And I'm Erin.
Welcome to the show, guys. Great to have you. Let's get things started. First things first, let's talk about some Northwest stuff. So, there's an article in Northwest Missouri talking about parking tickets. Now, we're all Northwest students. We all know we've all gotten parking tickets one time or another. You know, whether it be for one reason or another, like Tim Hanna, who had numerous reasons why he got tickets. Like, whether it's be too cold to walk, too early to walk, or you need a place to park, and we know how this place is with parking. And so we all have our own reasons why we've gotten tickets, but for some situations, like there's nowhere to park, we have to park in a spot we know we're gonna get a ticket at, because in most cases we're already late for class. So we have to just take L's everywhere in that situation. So when it comes to situations like that where there's just no other options, do you think they should be more lenient when it comes to these certain situations?
Yeah, I think so. I think they should be more lenient just due to the fact that the parking is so limited on campus. You gotta wake up an hour before class before you can find a decent spot, you know what I'm saying? And then they limit it for, the students. I feel like we should be able to park everywhere other than one staff. Like I feel like the staff should just have one lot to themselves rather than every lot they can park. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not fair to us who pay for tuition and again got to pay $90 to not have a spot.
Right. For some people,
for a permit.
For freshmen, they can only park on high rises. Residential areas. So they can't park off campus areas, which is kind of silly because they already have parking passes as it is. They get them when they come to school. So I feel like they're already going to get one. They might as well have, build from the park anywhere on campus, not just on residential hall areas.
Yeah.
I agree, and especially like Maryville winters, I think is really what trips me up. It's like during the summer and during the fall and even later in the spring, it's fine, I'll walk, but sometimes those winters, it's like I either have to drive or I just can't go to class. It's so cold. I'm from Minnesota, so I'm like, I should be prepared. You know what I mean? But it's just the winters. And then everyone wants to drive in the winter as well. So then you have no parking, and so I don't know if that's to build another parking lot, if that's to make parking passes cheaper or what. But I think something's got to change, especially in the winter.
I can understand why they have the different parking areas, like commuter, faculty, staff, and then like residents, is because I feel like residents should be able to park right next to like where they live. Like I feel like that should be something. But then again, also too, it's kind of annoying because like you pay for a parking pass, so you would think you would get access to all of the areas, which I can understand, like not getting access to faculty, staff, because like they work here. We just go to school here. I mean, it's still important, but you'd think that you get access to all that areas considering how much you pay. But I don't know. I have to park in the D-Sig parking lot and walk up to Wells, and like I can walk. I have two legs. It's not really that hard, but like when I'm kind of in a rush, I like to be like right where I'm at. So.
And when it's 15 degrees outside.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's true.
Yeah.
For sure.
But is there any other way they should go about this? Like what options, like solutions should they do to like not put us in financial debt that we're already in? Dig us in a deeper hole. Should they because after 5 o'clock the campus is closed. But I guess one of the rules is you're not allowed to park in faculty staff at all.
Ever. And I think maybe just like the signs before going into a parking lot, or maybe just like have a briefing before the school year on like where you can park and what times and everything. Because I mean, and Tim Hanna said in the article, he just wasn't aware. And I think that's like half the problem. Like my first couple tickets at school, I was like, why did I get this? And I wasn't supposed to park here, and the times and everything. So I think it's just an awareness.
It's like when I read that, I wasn't aware of that either. I was like, I didn't know you weren't allowed to park in faculty staff at all.
I didn't know either, like weekends and stuff at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My freshman year actually, I parked in commuter parking because I think I wanted to be closer to the Union because I lived all the way in Milliken. So I parked in commuter parking. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and I got a ticket. And I was like, but it's after 5. There's no one here, and it's commuter parking. Like it's not faculty staff. And I got a $30 fine. I just didn't understand why that happened. I didn't know that you could not really like fight them off, but like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I didn't know that you could do that. So I was like, all these times I could have saved money, but I didn't because I didn't know the rules. So maybe they should have like a seminar or something.
Yeah,
at least for freshmen.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's definitely something I did not know.
Because those tickets get add up quick as a freshman if you don't know what you're doing.
Got that right. $30 fine. Like after a while, like that
that's
adds up
ridiculous.
definitely. That's as much as like your parking like pass.
Right.
Like I mean, eventually.
Yeah.
Stay out of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's something they, address a little bit more in detail in future generations.
sure.
But moving on to some more positive news. I actually like good news. This is a pretty cool story. So in Kenya, there's a drought going on right now. And right now there's not a lot of water for the wildlife animals to drink. But one man is making sure they have plenty of water. His name is Patrick. He's a pea farmer. And he drives 3,000 gallons of water to the animals 4 days a week. It's costing $326 for each visit. And he's doing it by himself. So when you hear stories like this, Patrick, this one man just making sure the wildlife doesn't, go die of thirst, is out here trying to make a difference. What is that, how does that make you feel when you know people like that are still trying to do good in this world?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it makes me wonder why isn't he getting more help? It's like Kenya, they have a government, they know this is happening. It's world powers out there that know this information and know this stuff is, happening and know how valuable, animals and different resources are in any country, but more so there. And you would think that, all these world agencies that, claim to be World Health Agent, UNICEF,
Wildlife,
all them people they definitely do something to help, but it just amazes me that other than this one man driving 300 miles or however long he got to drive to get this water to these animals, it's just crazy, but I mean, it's definitely a positive thing. You got to pat him on the back, man. It takes a lot of strength to do that.
And I believe he drives 28 miles each trip.
28 miles?
28 miles each trip.
Okay, 28. I said 300, but hey.
Hey, you know what? How much he's paying?
Yeah.
Still a long
And he's
trip,
still
though.
paying for it. It's 4 days a week. That's $1,000 a week.
Yeah.
Is that something you guys would consider doing if you were in his position?
Well,
Maybe if I had the money.
Yeah, I was gonna say. If I had the money, but it also makes me think just about. Number one, Maryville Humane Society is like 2 miles up the road, and I still can't even possibly get there. Like walk the dogs or whatever, and they have the hour. And I'm like, this guy's driving 28 miles both ways to go feed animals that aren't even, dogs. They're like big animals. They were like rhinos and whatever else he was feeding and everything. And it just like makes me think, I'm like, well, I'm so blessed that I have a car, but I still don't go do those things that, So, that's amazing. That guy's a saint. It's awesome.
Yeah, one man's making a difference.
Yeah.
Big Sean said it. One man can change the world.
For real.
And he's trying to save the wildlife. It's to the point where they're very dependent on him now. Like when they know when he pulls up, they know what he's bringing. So when they see him, they know like this man is here to help us. He's bringing us the water. Yeah. So it's definitely good to see, man. It's definitely a good story. Good people still in the world.
Yeah.
Good discussion so far, guys. When we come back, we're going to talk about aliens and how NASA thinks we are not alone. It's all coming up right here on Cat Chat after this.
It's where students discuss their views. It's Cat Chat, brought to you by Northwest Student Media.
And we are back here on Cat Chat. We had a great discussion in the first half. Now we're going to get a little interesting and talk about some space. So yesterday, guys, NASA had a big announcement, and their big announcement was that they have found a new solar system with 7 Earth-like planets and 3 are in habitable zones. So they're calling this the holy grail of planet hunting for astronomers. And they say that the 3 planets that are inhabitable right now are warm enough to support alien life forms. So they're saying right now there's a very strong possibility that there is other existing life in the solar system. So I'm not saying it's aliens, but it sounds like some aliens going on right now. So
And honestly, with this, I feel like for us to say that we have places we think that, we can put alien life form in and survive, like one, where are the aliens at putting this? And then like two, like how do we can say that it is inhabitable? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get that, but I do believe there are aliens and other planets out there that we have not discovered yet, and I do like a lot of weird research on it, quantum physics and all of that stuff, and radio waves traveling through space and black holes. But yeah, I do believe there are inhabitable planets out there. Just to keep it short, and yeah.
Oh, I think that as a human, I would say I'm kind of selfish. So I like to think that like Earth is like the only place with like human life on, or just like anything that's living. But I think it's really cool that there are like 3 other planets that could be like inhabitable. I don't think aliens are there necessarily. Like when I think aliens, I think like one eye and like just like like want to destroy the Earth or something. I don't think that's a thing, but I think that there could possibly be life. I don't think it's like humans, and I don't think it's aliens, but I think it's just something that could like lead to a good scientific discovery.
Yeah, I'm with Erin on that. When I think aliens, I have a totally irrational movie-esque image of them.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of. I was like, one eye. I was like, Mike Wazowski.
Yeah, me too. So,
If he's real, then that's awesome.
Yeah, I hope so. Those 3 planets, though, but I don't know. I mean, it's hard to comprehend. I mean, really hard to comprehend what's outside of this, you know.
Didn't a couple years ago they just said they found another Earth-like planet twice the size as Earth?
Yeah.
And all
With
this
water
other stuff.
and
Yeah. They're saying these 3 planets might even have oceans, so it's almost looking like
Might have
they're
oceans.
pretty much identical to what we're doing here on Earth.
That's just
They're-
like-
You want a
they-
vacation? Hey.
I feel like
Right?
that's just like going into like the wreck on an off day and being like, maybe there's 30 people in there. Like, and normally on a Tuesday nobody's there. I feel like that's the same thing with these planets. Maybe there's life form there. I don't know. We just discovered it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think Earth is the only thing out there with life right now. But aliens, I think they exist, and I do think they walk among us. Next topic for next week, though, man.
For next week, though, that's next week's topic. So you guys
Aliens,
would
they're
agree
real.
that even if it may not be aliens, but we may be getting close to discovering a new life form.
Yes, I think so.
Maybe
I
not
think
one-eyed
we get
creatures.
closer and
but-
closer, but I mean, yeah, I keep hearing news, and it's like, oh, like there's something, and then 2 years later, there's something. So I'm kind of waiting for like some real evidence.
We
But
need to
obviously,
bring
I
a
mean,
body
the
back.
planets.
Was what happened. We need to bring something back.
You'd have Will Smith dragging across the desert.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Or what, Matt Damon, Martian?
Yep.
Send Matt Damon up there. He'll get it done.
Right. Wouldn't be his first time up there.
Or Matthew McConaughey. You know?
Hey, we have a lot of great soldiers we can send to space and bring them back.
Yeah.
So, there's always talks about us trying to inhabit other planets, like, the moon, Mars, places that we can, once, this Earth is no longer built for us, we can move on to another planet and survive there. So do you think us finding these planets is more of us trying to get closer to finding, another life form, or us just trying to find another planet to maybe one day inhabit?
I think just as humans, we're always asking, like, what's more, what else is out there? And I think it's just the natural progression of, I mean, man walks on the moon, so that's great, that happened. Now we're finding planets, 3 of them are inhabitable. I think it's just the natural progression, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like Earth was made for us, so I think this is the place we're supposed to be till we perish. So,
I mean, 7 Earth-like planets, that's a lot of Earths.
that is a lot of Earth.
It kind of reminds me of like Back to the Future, how they like had the parallel timelines, but like on
Parallel
different
universes?
planets,
Yeah.
Universes.
Wow,
Yeah.
there could be double of us in another universe.
What?
could be,
I hope they're not better than me. I'm the only me.
I'm the best
I'm better
Erin there
than
is.
the other me.
I don't want to meet the other me.
So the future is definitely looking interesting. So it's something to keep an eye on.
For sure.
And speaking of future, they're bringing something back. In case you guys remember, DARE, the drug resistance program. They shut it down 8 years ago, but they're bringing it back in Maryville because they feel like kids here can really benefit from that kind of program. And the statistics show that kids who have taken the drug program are less likely to not do drugs as those who never got it. Or, those like the tobacco use, the alcohol use, and the marijuana use is decreased or significantly lower than those who haven't taken the course. So they think that bringing this back would be a good way to educate the kids on how to, make sure they don't try things that, drugs that they shouldn't be doing, stuff they shouldn't be doing. So, but this program has been shut down for 8 years. Do you think it's been 8 years too long? Do you think it'd still be relevant and help in today's world?
I think so. I mean, I think the more knowledge you have, the more you're equipped. I mean, I just think it couldn't be a bad thing for sure. And knowledge is power, so I think
Yeah.
it could be helpful.
And you gotta remember, last week, Will, you were here, we talked about prescription drug abuse.
Exactly. I agree. I do think it's a good thing to bring back. But in the end of the day, even with that amount of information, we still have an overwhelming amount of like last week of opiate overdoses.
3,000 deaths a year for opioids.
Exactly. So like people have the knowledge on all of this stuff now. But yeah, I think it is important to kind of bring that back as far as kids. And not only that, it was fun as a kid to like not want to do that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
You know, so but people, once you get to a certain age, you still gonna make that decision on your own. Like a program's not gonna stop that. Like we got rehab for people, but people still don't go to rehab. You know, people drop out of rehab and go right back to what they was doing before. You know what I'm saying? So it just comes down to self-will and what you ultimately want to do with your life or what you want to get. If you want to get high, you're gonna go get high.
Yeah. And heads up, Will, they did take marijuana off the drug list.
Okay,
So.
yeah.
So
That's awesome. I guess. I don't know.
So yeah, that's no longer on the dangerous list that Dare
Yeah.
tries to harp on. 'Cause, do you guys have we all had Dare here in this panel? I had Dare as a kid. You never had Dare?
I did.
Wow.
Don't look at her. She's perfectly fine.
Yeah, she's probably okay. But
okay?
I remember when we were in Dare, the main thing they focused on was alcohol and marijuana.
Yeah, and it makes sense now that they took marijuana off. I feel like that would kind of make it a more legit program because you see, obviously, marijuana is legal in certain states and it has health benefits.
There's medical use for it.
Yeah, in contradiction to all this stuff that they said was so bad about it when we were in the classes. You know, like my DARE teacher, my DARE officer told me one of his friends went brain dead or something like that, had a mental illness after smoking or a laced joint or something like that. And I'm thinking like, if you want something laced, that don't just happen. You usually know what people do to what you know what I'm saying? You usually know what you consume. So, I don't know. I just think it's a good thing they took it off there just so people can have a different perspective on marijuana and know the actual benefits of it because it's in the news, we see it, you see it. And it explains itself.
And all the drugs, opioids and Xanax, stuff like that. Those are good drugs to give lessons on so kids know what the effects of these drugs cause.
There's real addiction behind that stuff. People actually die overdose. You don't have overdoses on marijuana. So why would you put that in a drug? You know what I'm saying? A resistance awareness program. Like that's not a drug, obviously. Ain't nobody died off of it. So that's not something I feel like you should have to educate or harp on kids not to do, as opposed to harping on heroin, cocaine, meth, crack, all that stuff. That's what you need to harp on.
Do you guys agree with that statement? Should we just focus on the hard drugs, the ones that drugs actually are causing problems in today's society?
I think it's a good idea, honestly, to focus on all of them because for some people, you can talk to your parents and be like, Mom, Dad, what are these drugs? And they're just like, oh, they're just bad, don't use them. Like smoking a cigarette, drinking alcohol or stuff
something
like
you see
that.
people do every day.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But I feel like the DARE program, it'll definitely tell you, I don't think it should just focus on the hard stuff. I think it should, still talk about the others, but maybe, a little bit more on the harder stuff. Be like, cigarettes are still bad because of this, and then, still talk about, the negative side effects. But, yeah, there's a lot more to talk about nowadays considering, people are consuming crazier things nowadays. Back in, the time where there was, rock and roll, there was, cocaine and all this crazy stuff, and now it's just, coming back, and it's something that people do, every day.
Yeah, because I don't remember hearing anything about cocaine in my DARE class.
Yeah, well, I think we should start to know because it's pretty crazy nowadays.
Yeah, DARE program when I was there started 5th grade.
Is it 5th grade? Okay.
5th grade? Did you start at 5th grade, Erin?
Yeah, 5th grade.
Yeah, so.
And it was a year or something?
Yeah. It was a year thing?
I believe so.
It was a semester, I think, the first half, because we had DARE graduation or whatever, I remember that. And we had a DARE card that's, you get abstinence, drug abstinence.
And then you could get free French fries from McDonald's every time you used it, but it don't work no more, so I felt robbed.
Oh my gosh.
I took this whole program for free French fries, I can't even get that no more.
French fries.
Anyway, so I hope they don't cheat these kids out of free French fries like they did our generation. But, so it should be a good program. I'm looking forward to see what they do with it. But when we come back on Cat Chat, we'll talk about some entertainment and why Chris Brown now has a restraining order against them. More here on Cat Chat.
It's Cat Chat, brought to you by Northwest Student Media.
And we are back here on Cat Chat with our last segment. We're going to wrap it up with some entertainment with a man that needs really no introduction, but I'm going to mention his name anyway, Chris Brown. He has quite the history, and history is repeating itself with Chris Brown, man. All the talent in the world, but it just doesn't have a good head on his shoulders. Recently, it was announced, I believe yesterday, that his ex-girlfriend, Karuchi, filed a restraining order against Chris Brown because he threatened to kill her. Now, in court, she also said when they were dating two years ago, Chris Brown was also physically abusive towards her. He punched her in the stomach 2 times and pushed her down the stairs. Now, Chris Brown went on Instagram and kind of said, don't believe anything you hear. He didn't really mention it specifically, but he kind of hinted towards it. But the fact is, the restraining order is still against him, so they had to have some proof of evidence that he was threatening her. So the question I bring to you guys is, can we admit that Chris Brown has a physical abusive problem towards women?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's
I
really.
mean, from way back Rihanna those days.
Rihanna,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yes,
especially when the pictures first came out, that was like
Yeah,
everybody
that
was so
was
shocked like
shocking.
how bad she was
Did he
beaten.
even go to jail for that?
Yeah.
He got probation.
Yeah, probation.
Probation?
That's crazy. And
That's
it's-
frustrating.
It's
Not going
are you
right.
going? Okay.
Sorry,
It's
you can go
amazing
ahead.
to
Go
me,
ahead.
like, how is he still
Yeah.
the king of what he does? Like, don't get me wrong, I like Chris Brown's music. We all can agree with that. But for the sole fact that so many women still accept him and still buy his stuff and still support him, even with a restraining order, even with him beating up Rihanna, which is our biggest pop star right now to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people still follow this man. I don't
Did
understand.
you say you listen to his music?
I do. I listen to his music.
Well, there you go.
But it's just,
It's just, you know,
I'm done buying any of his stuff.
I don't
listening-
buy it. I don't buy it.
Or
Like,
listening to it on
yeah,
YouTube, giving
like-
him views. No, I mean.
But it's
oh,
just like,
not
I don't know, I
okay.
feel like it's a certain reflection of our society that, you know, people can harp on, you know, gender violence and, you know, abuse when you still endorse stars that do this blatantly. We know this.
it's like we let their talent hide up their flaws.
Overshadow
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Just whooping on women.
Or
Like,
this girl dating. I mean, I just don't understand her even dating him in the first place. I would.
We like to
give that a
believe that he's
chance.
a changed man. That's what they all say. They're like, I'm
Yeah.
a changed man. Like, I'm gonna change. No, no. There's a difference between like calling a girl like a B word and then punching her in the face. Like,
And I feel like we watched Chris Brown be rebirthed, you know, plenty of times before our eyes. Like, you
So
know, it's
many
always been, you know,
times.
this is the moment he turns his career around. He turns his life around. And he
got some
still comes
issues.
back and does the same Chris Brown things that made him, you know, put him in the position he is in now.
we have a sorry song coming out here. Like,
Yeah, and
Yeah, I know. Get ready for it.
And the funny part about it is a couple weeks ago he put out a Vine, a little video saying, you know, if I like you, you know, I'm gonna stalk you because that's just me caring about you.
no,
So-
there's a difference between
Yeah.
stalking and like just showing like pure love for someone.
Or just interest.
No.
I mean, there's. Yeah.
What?
But also, I think, like you said, it has a reflection on our society, like that we endorse and we go to concerts and we still buy songs and still do all this music for
Still
someone
scream
who
and go ham.
it doesn't. I feel like it makes his music way worse
Yeah.
and way just worse than that. He's a worse person.
And
I don't
it's,
know.
it's funny you guys mention his music because right now he has a song Party with Usher Raymond and Gucci Mane that's currently 41 on Bill charts. And he just announced the Party tour that's coming to Kansas City. It's going to have him, he's headlining to his tour, 50 Cent, French Montana, Fabulous, and OT Genesis. Now, do you think with the recent news of this restraining order and the threats that it's going to affect the success of his music or the tour?
Probably not.
No.
Honestly, probably not. No. I think it's because there's always gonna be those people like, don't hate on Chris Brown. Like stuff like this happens every day,
He's
and
under a lot of pressure.
and
like-
yeah, and they're just gonna make excuses for him, and it's just ridiculous. And I don't think not just for Chris Brown, but for anyone, I don't think celebrities should get any special treatment. Like they're humans just like us. Like I understand you make more money and like you like have all this fame, but like you're not setting a good example for people, and you're making people think it's okay that you act like that, and that's ridiculous. Like Chris Brown should get way more than he has right now.
You know, karma will come around eventually. He'll probably
Yeah.
he'll get his, the way he acts in public and the way, you know, people he hangs around. It's probably gonna happen very soon. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, a woman that has a history of Chris Brown, you know, Rihanna, we mentioned her a little earlier. But we're gonna mention her in a better light.
Yes.
She recently made history. Love on the Brain cracked the top 10 this week, and it officially made her have more top 10 hits than Michael Jackson.
Dang.
So what does this achievement mean for Rihanna in her career?
I think that's
Does
insane.
it solidify
She
her?
should be so honored. I'm sure she is.
I was
She's
gonna
great.
say.
She's great.
I mean, she's not even done yet, you know. So
Yeah, she's young.
It's exciting to see, man. I mean, she's got some good stuff, you know. Can't knock that. So congrats to Rihanna, you know. Continued success, you know.
Do you think this is gonna make her, this kind of solidifies her place as a pop legend great?
Oh, yeah.
Especially
She
as a
stopped
woman,
right
too.
now, yeah,
For sure.
definitely.
So she has more top 10 hits than Michael Jackson. Do you think she's on a higher level than Beyonce right now? Pop, you know, she's got the hits.
Oh boy.
See, okay, Beyonce to me gets it because of the whole family aspects around her, by her dating Jay-Z, and then she's got kids. Not only that, you know, women. She's like a woman figure, like an icon to women to a certain degree. And on a different level, her music is it more so to me in comparison to Rihanna's. Rihanna's is more club, more, you know what I'm saying, youthful to a certain degree, and then Beyonce's is more, you know, soulful, gathering people, you know what I'm saying, empowering women a lot. You know what I'm saying? Lemonade, you know, the album itself is
it's like Beyonce formation, Rihanna better have my money.
And she's like, and to me, you can't compare them because they came out at a different time. It's just like comparing Jay-Z to a Kodak Black or somebody. You can't compare those. You know?
But you know, they both had their own following that they both lead. They both looked up as, you know, strong women figures to both their crowds. So there's a nice comparison there. But you know, I think we can say right now Beyonce's still at that a little higher level.
Nobody can touch Beyonce.
But you know, it's a good accomplishment for Rihanna. So definitely congratulations to her. Well, guys, thanks for coming on Cat Chat this week. It was fun. Hopefully you guys will come back again soon. We'd definitely love to have you. All right, guys. Till next time, we'll be at the same spot, same place, same time every Thursday at 12:30 right here on Cat Chat.